Welcome back, Midnight Raiders. I hope everyone is well. So, we're going to be jumping right back into My Best Friend's Friend, where we left off last episode. Theo had just gone outside of the gala to find Shelley, and unfortunately, the timing was pretty crappy. He walked up to see her kissing her ex. Little did he know she hadn't initiated the kiss, and she was just as surprised by it as he was seeing it. Obviously, she pushed him away, and even Logan tried to explain it to Theo. However, it doesn't seem that any of that was enough to convince him. Theo took off and was upset, and Shelley was left feeling bad, guilty, and knowing that she needed to explain. So she is now gonna go try to catch him and hopefully make things better. Alright, let's see what happens.
My Best Friend's Friend, Chapter 10. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Theo's face and the hurt in his eyes. It was impossible to sleep. Andy and I had gotten home close to 2:30 a.m. It was now 4:30. My mind was racing. How had this happened? Somehow the fake feelings between Theo and myself had become incredibly real, and the very real feelings I once had for Logan seemed far in the past now. However, ironically, it seemed as though the guy I actually wanted was slipping away, and the one I couldn't even trust was begging to stay. What a mess. With that, I decided I would just close my eyes for a half an hour before freshening up and sneaking over to Theo's room. We needed to talk. I didn't want him feeling like that, especially over a misunderstanding. I had to fix this. Next thing I knew, there was a knock on my door. As I sat up, I realized it was light out. I glanced at the clock. It was now 10:15. I hopped up quickly and went to open the door with hopes of it being Theo. "Oh, good morning," I said, trying to mask my disappointment as Andy stared back at me. "Good morning to you, too. So, I don't want to freak you out, but just wanted to give you a heads up Theo's gone." "What do you mean he's gone?" I questioned as my heart began to pound. "He left early this morning. I found a note in his room. It thanked us for an amazing week, our generous hospitality, and you, for an amazing new friendship when he needed it most. However, it went on to say that he had to leave because he couldn't take any more hurt right now. He had gotten a phone call last night informing him that his father had taken a turn for the worse, and he had to prepare to say his final goodbyes just in case. There was this envelope addressed to you as well." I took the envelope from Andy as a stray tear escaped my eye. Andy read over my shoulder as I opened the letter addressed to me. "Shelley, I just want to say that I'll forever be thankful for you being by my side when I needed it the most, and I will always cherish the time that we spent. But seeing you and Logan together last night made me feel like something broke within me. He did come to talk to me and explain that he was going to back off from you. He hadn't realized what was going on between us. However, that almost made it worse. Part of me had hoped you'd choose me and let it be known, especially to him. I realized that I had no right to want or hope for that, given the situation. You and Andy had originally asked me to come to be your wingman. I really did try, but ended up falling for you somewhere along the way. I understand that you still have feelings for Logan, and that I need to accept that. Feeling like I was in competition for you hurt more than I can express, almost as bad as the phone call I received last night about my dad. He's taken a turn for the worse. I have to go to be with him while I still have the chance. I don't know how much more I can take of any of this. Just know that I truly wish you the best. Take care." By the time I had gotten to the end of the letter, I couldn't stop the tears from flowing. Andy hugged me tightly. What the hell? I had chosen him. I was constantly by his side, trying to be there for him. I went with him to see his dad. He was the only guy I danced with at the gala. "Yeah, but it was Logan you kissed." "Hey! He kissed me, and I did not kiss him back. I don't know how anyone could think I would after I spent the majority of the night cuddled up in Theo's arms." "Wait, what?" Andy exclaimed excitedly. "Not like that. It was purely innocent, but it had meant something to me." I continued to fill him in on everything that had transpired over the course of the week. "I knew you guys had gotten close, but I didn't realize it was to that extent. I'm actually a little surprised that he's walking away without a fight. But then again, we need to take into consideration everything he's going through. He was already having a hard time with everything before coming here, and it sounds like him not realizing how much you've come to care about him may have added to it. Well, what do I do about it? Do I let him go handle everything he needs to without being a distraction? Or do I let him know how I feel and that I'm here whenever he's ready to talk? I questioned, feeling lost. Excellent question, Andy replied, seeming deep in thought. Maybe give him the day and then we can figure out a text message to send him this evening, Andy suggested. Hey, what are you two up to? Logan questioned as he entered the hallway. Just chatting. I actually have to run a few errands, but we'll be back before you leave this evening, Andy said, looking at Logan. I have you down as my dinner date, Andy teased, turning back to me. Sounds good, I replied. Well, since he's your dinner date, how about you be my lunch date? Let me treat you to lunch before I head out, Logan said with a hopeful look. Yeah, sure, why not? I said with a teasing smile. Great. There's this spot down by the beach that sounds pretty cool. I'll let you get ready for the day and we can head out in about an hour, if that sounds good. It sounds great, I replied, secretly hoping that lunch with Logan would help keep my mind off of Theo for the time being. We went to the restaurant that he wanted to check out by the beach. It definitely did not disappoint. The food was delicious and the view breathtaking. We talked and laughed as we reminisced about the past. We had had some pretty good times. It really was a shame he had screwed things up so badly. I still really enjoyed being around him. However, for all the good he made me feel, it was paralleled by the bad that I just couldn't shake. If seeing him again had taught me anything, it was that no matter how much I wanted to forget the past and trust him again, I couldn't. Not yet, anyway. And, as of now, it was questionable whether or not I would ever be able to. However, as we returned home, and our time together was drawing near an end, we agreed that we would give being friends a try, for the time being. After we all had said our goodbyes and Logan had left, Andy and I began cooking dinner. As we waited for it to finish cooking, we sat down and attempted to figure out a game plan as to what to do about Theo. I told Andy I liked his idea to simply text Theo. That way he could read it and respond if he wanted to, without feeling rushed or pressured. We threw ideas around as to what to write. I finally told Andy I was just going to write from the heart and try to let it flow naturally. After dinner, I thanked Andy for all of his advice and support and headed to my room to text Theo. Hey, got your note. I'm so sorry to hear about your dad, as well as the way everything played out yesterday. I am disappointed I didn't get to talk to you before you left. Things were left on a bad note between us, and I hate that. I'm pretty sure you got the wrong impression, and I wish I would have gotten the chance to clear the air. But I understand you needing to go. You and your father are in my thoughts and prayers. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to ask. I would really like to talk whenever you have a minute. P.S. Wish I were able to be with you through all of this. I took a deep breath and hit send. I fell asleep waiting for a reply. I know it was silly of me to think he would respond, especially after the tone of the letter he had left me. It had almost sounded like he was saying goodbye forever. My heart hurt realizing how much I missed him, and it had only been a day. I really had fallen for him, and hard. Upon waking up, I immediately checked my phone. There was one new text. My heart sunk seeing it was from Logan, not Theo. Made it home. You're still on my mind, so I thought I'd say good morning. Good morning, I replied, and that was that. The day drudged on slowly. At lunch, I mindlessly slid my food back and forth across my plate. What's up? You're not acting like yourself. Does this whole thing with Theo really have you that upset? Or is something else bothering you as well? Andy inquired. Yeah, it's just the Theo thing, I mumbled, not wanting to talk about it. Well, if it makes you feel any better, he's not answering or returning my calls or texts either. It actually did make me feel a little bit better, for a second anyway. My mind began to wander, and I felt a little wave of worry crash over me. I hope he's okay. Andy smiled and put his hand on mine. I'm sure he's going to be fine. He may be going through a lot, but he's honestly one of the strongest guys I know, he said reassuringly. That night before bed, I texted Theo once more. I hope you had a better day today. Good night and sweet dreams. Once again, I got no response. My Best Friend's Friend, Chapter 11. 2 more torturous days crawled by, and the pain that accompanied the realization that Theo may never speak to me again began to seep in. I hated that I had hurt him. I couldn't help but feel guilty, even though I hadn't meant to. Andy still hadn't heard from him either, which only added to my guilt. I could only pray that their friendship wasn't hurt due to the situation with me. The next night was movie night. Andy and I decided to stray from our usual picks and watch a horror movie. I just couldn't stomach a romance tonight. Just as the main character was unknowingly about to get into the car with the killer, Andy's phone rang, causing us both to jump. Andy answered his phone, and within a minute his face was stoic. "I'm so sorry for your loss. I appreciate you calling and letting me know. We will be there for sure. Thanks," Andy said before hanging up. What was that about? I was pretty sure I already knew, but I asked anyway. That was Theo's brother. Their dad passed away 2 days ago. The funeral will be this Sunday. He said that he and his mom are worried about Theo. He hasn't come out of his room, not even to eat. They were hoping we would attend the funeral to support Theo. Poor Theo. That has to be so hard. His dad was a great man and a wonderful professor. Are you going to go? Of course. You and I are both going, Andy replied. Are you sure that's a good idea? I don't want to make matters worse by showing up unannounced. Shelley, they specifically asked that both you and I attend the funeral. And honestly, it sounds like things can't get much worse for him right now. He needs us. Well, when you put it that way, how could I possibly say no? That night, I texted Theo once again. Your dad was a great man, who led a great life. He will be missed by many. Don't forget, he loved you very much, and a part of him lives on in you. Please let me know if you need anything. The day of the funeral came in no time. Andy and I arrived a little late and hung in the back until the crowd began to clear. We watched as Theo's mom knelt down beside him and spoke. After a couple minutes, she stood and walked away with his brother, as Theo remained sitting there with his head hung low. Andy nudged me in front of him, so I led the way to Theo. We sat on both sides of him. I placed one hand on his shoulder and held his hand with my other. Andy gave him a pat on the back and offered his condolences. Theo didn't speak or even look up. I was pleasantly surprised when he eventually held my hand back. Andy noticed as well and gave me a silent thumbs up. I'm going to go grab a drink. I'll be back, Andy said before disappearing off into the crowd. I was surprised when Theo began to cry a moment later. Instinctively, I wrapped my arms around him. I know, I whispered as he held on to me tightly. I was thankful he was letting me be there for him, rather than pushing me away. I gently ran my fingers through the back of his hair. We stayed like that for close to 10 minutes, before I stood up, pulling him along with me. Come on, I said, handing him one of the roses I'd brought. We walked silently up to his father's resting place. I set my rose down first and waited for him to do the same. As he did, he placed his hand on the headstone and wiped away a tear. Our hands had been interlocked up until this point. However, it seemed as though he may be needing a moment to himself. So, I went to pull my hand away in an attempt to give him a moment alone. When I did this, his grip on my hand tightened, so I stayed put. After a couple moments, he led us through a tree-lined walkway that led towards the cars. He stopped by the benches, halfway to the parking lot, yet remained standing. He spoke without looking at me. I'm not feeling well. I'm going to head home, but I appreciate your being here today more than you know. He was saying when I remembered that his brother had told Andy he hadn't been eating. Of course. Thank you for letting me be here with you. But before you go, have you eaten today? I said, nodding towards the catered buffet-style spread. No, I'm not hungry, he replied, still looking anywhere but at me. Theo, you need to eat something. Here, I'm going to grab us something from the buffet. Eat with me, and then you can do whatever you like, and I'll be out of your hair, I said, walking away. Part of me was worried that he'd be gone when I returned with the food. However, I was pleasantly surprised to find him sitting on the benches waiting for me. It took him a minute, but he finally ate. I went and threw away the trash, and when I returned, he was standing with his phone out. What are you doing? I asked. Getting a ride home. Stop that, I said, putting my hand between him and his phone. Andy and I will take you, I said, catching Andy's attention and waving him to come over. What's up? How you doing? Andy asked, looking at Theo. Hey, he muttered, staring off into the distance. Theo's ready to get out of here. Let's give him a ride home, I said. Yeah, sure, let's get out of here, Andy replied, fishing the keys out of his pocket as we began to walk to the car. There was an awkward silence in the car, even with the music playing. I wished there was something I could do to help Theo feel better. As we pulled up to Theo's house, Andy offered his condolences once again in the car. I climbed out with Theo. I grabbed his hand and was about to speak when he pulled me into a tight embrace. I stood on my tippy toes, wrapped my arms around his neck, and hugged him back. I'm truly sorry for your loss, and for what transpired between us. I know this isn't the best time, but since I don't know when I'll see you again, I just want you to know that I'm also sorry that I made you feel like you had to be in competition for me. For what it's worth, from where I stood, there was never any competition. I already knew what I wanted, I said, kissing him on the cheek before heading back to the car. What did you say to him? Andy asked as we drove away. Why? I questioned teasingly. Because he's staring like he just saw a ghost, Andy said, glancing in the rearview mirror. I told him what I said and explained that I realized it was probably not the best time to say that, but I had to take the opportunity, seeing as how I didn't know if I'd see him again. Is that all you said? Andy asked in an accusing tone. Yes, why? I questioned, now feeling insecure about having said it. You didn't make it clear it was him that you were referring to wanting? Was it not clear? I questioned, shocked. We are guys. We need you to spell stuff like that out for us. Poor guy is probably going to spend the rest of the day trying to figure out what you meant. I give up. At least that'll make for a bit of a distraction from everything he's dealing with today, I said, shrugging, as a wave of defeat washed over me. Don't worry about it. I'll give him a call tonight, Andy said with a smile as he turned up the music. My Best Friend's Friend, Chapter 12. I knew not to expect anything, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't still disappointed to discover no new messages from Theo upon waking. It had been 3 days since the funeral, and neither Andy nor I had heard from him. Andy had tried calling a couple of times. However, I took a different route and decided to give him some space. The last thing I wanted to do right now was push something on him that he didn't want. It was already getting warm in my room, so I opened the window to get some fresh air. It was already a beautiful day out. Just then, my phone dinged with an incoming text. It was from Andy. Hey, want to talk to you about something. Meet me for a dip in the pool in 30? Sure, I replied before starting to get ready. Half an hour later, I made my way out to the backyard and climbed in the pool. It was unusually quiet. 15 minutes went by, and I began to wonder where Andy had wandered off to. I climbed out of the pool, lay down on a lounge chair, and grabbed my phone. Just as I was about to text Andy, a new message came in from him. Hey, so I talked to him. He's having a hard time. I think you talking to him could help. He hasn't said it directly, but it seems pretty obvious he isn't happy with the way you guys have left things. I know the situation's awkward right now, but do you think you have it in your heart to give him one more shot? I was just about to text back when a shadow towered over me, blocking the sunlight. I looked up surprised at who was standing in front of me. Logan? What are you doing here? I blurted out. I had been happy when I thought Andy's text had been about Theo, but now I didn't know what to think, as a wave of mixed emotions crashed over me. Had something happened? Was there a reason Andy now thought I should give Logan another chance? Hey, I was having a hard time getting you off my mind. It actually was proving to be impossible. I didn't like the way we left things. An occasional text here or there doesn't really allow me the chance to work on our friendship or building trust. So here I am. I was hoping we could talk and come up with a game plan if that's okay. Unless you're with that Theo guy. I don't want to make things awkward. Ha, too late for that. I'm not even sure if he's speaking to me right now, I said, feeling defeated. Well, he's obviously an idiot. It's his loss. Hearing a noise at the back door, Logan and I both looked over. Theo, hold on, Andy called as Theo began to go back into the house. Damn it, Andy muttered, going after him. I was speechless. What the hell was going on? Had Andy's text actually been about Theo, like I had originally thought? And Logan showing up just a coincidence? I stood up, wrapped the towel around me, before glancing at Logan. Go ahead, we can put a pin in this until a later time. Thanks, I replied, relieved he was taking it in such good stride. And where the hell did Theo go? Upon entering the house, I could see that the den, kitchen, and dining room were empty, so I made my way to the front of the house. It was then that I heard muffled voices out on the front porch. Okay, if you're sure, I guess I'll go grab my keys, I could hear Andy saying. Just then the door opened and Andy came in. A heads up would have been nice, I whispered. What's Logan doing here? He questioned. Beats me. I thought he was who you had been texting me about, giving the timing of everything, so I was attempting to hear him out. Okay, I know. Time for damage control, I said, nodding towards the door. Andy smiled. You got this, he encouraged. I stepped out onto the porch. Hey, we really have got to stop doing this. What? Theo questioned, looking confused. The whole bad timing thing. This is the second time now. I started to try to explain when he cut me off. It's fine. No, it's not fine. I can only imagine what you're thinking. Hell, if the roles were reversed, I know what I'd be thinking. I'd probably want to walk away from it all too. Is that what you think? That I just want to walk away from you? He questioned, his tone sounding accusing. Well, isn't that why Andy is going to get his keys? I was leaving because it was obviously interrupting something. Look, I get it. You guys have history. We do, but that only means he's my past. You weren't interrupting anything. I had no idea he was going to show up like that today. Andy had sent me a very vague text message earlier. At first, I was happy thinking it was about you, that I was finally going to get the chance to talk to you. But when Logan showed up, I assumed Andy had actually been texting about him. None of that is important, though. The guy I actually want to talk to is right here, so I'm definitely seizing the opportunity. Okay, that's fine, I get it, Theo said with a strange look on his face as he started to head down to the car. Without thinking, I grabbed his hand. Wait, where are you going? Do you want to go to the car and talk or something? I asked, confused. What? He questioned back with a confused expression on his face as well. Okay, how about this? You can choose where you want us to go talk. All that matters to me is that we actually get to talk, I said, giving him the opportunity to choose where he felt most comfortable. I was surprised when he muttered, shit, ran his hand through his hair, and continued staring off in the other direction. Okay, or not. How about we go talk in my room then? I said, giving his hand a little tug. He nodded, intertwining his fingers with mine. As we walked in, Andy and Logan stared at us. Realizing this, Theo began to pull his hand away. I not only held on tighter, but pulled him in closer. Logan raised his brow. Guess you're not an idiot after all. She's a good one. Try not to screw it up like I did. I laughed and shook my head. You guys should go pick up lunch, I said with a wink as I turned and led Theo down the hall to my room. I shut the bedroom door and turned to join Theo. I was startled as I almost crashed right into him. He proceeded to place one hand on the door above my head, and the other across the nape of my neck. As his fingers played in my hair, I stared up at him. He appeared to be searching my eyes for an answer to some unspoken question. It was a moment before he finally spoke. I'm sorry. He was right. I was acting like an idiot. No, I'm sorry. I should have just told you how I felt, instead of assuming that you knew. That way you would have known that kiss meant nothing, that it wasn't my doing, just like his showing up today. Okay, well, you said you wanted to talk, so talk. How do you feel? Nothing like putting me on the spot, huh? Look, I wasn't looking for anything when this all started. I just needed something to help me get through having to deal with my ex. Not only did I get what I wanted, but I got more. I ended up getting the opportunity to know an amazing man who has this amazing smile. A man that I want to spend my time trying to make smile as much as possible. Look, Theo, not only have I come to care about you a great deal, but I've fallen for you quite hard. There it was, that amazingly handsome smile of his. Good, because my life is better with you in it. You're the one thing that can make me smile even on my darkest days. I want you, all of you, and I don't want to share you. So, will you be mine? I couldn't hold back the smile that spread across my face as I nodded. Yes. He leaned in closer. I've been waiting to do this for a long time, he said, pressing his lips against mine. He pulled back for a moment to look me in the eyes. You're mine. I love the way that sounds. I pulled him back in, desperately wanting more. As his lips crashed against mine once again, sparks enveloped me. I couldn't help but think how lucky I was. This man was everything I wanted, and more. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this, he said, pulling out a folded piece of paper out of his pocket. He unfolded it to reveal a sketch of us. It was an exact copy of the picture his father had taken. In the corner, there was a small infinity symbol with the words, "What is meant to be, will be." It was the last thing he drew, Theo said, smiling, with tears in his eyes. Wrapping my arms around him, he pulled me in tightly, pressing his lips to my forehead. It was in that moment that I knew with 100% certainty I had made the right choice. I had finally found the man I was meant to be with. It seems the professor's last words had been words of wisdom, and I smiled, knowing he had been correct. What is meant to be, will be, and so it is.
That's a wrap. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit sad that that's over and that was it. What'd you guys think about that ending? Oh, I'm sentimental, right? I didn't see it coming. It definitely was a fun little surprise twist there at the end. And yeah, Theo, aw. What a sweetheart. Where do I find a guy like that? Or better yet, what about Andy? Do you guys have a best friend like that? Where can I find one? I need an Andy. Anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys thought about the story. Write in and let me know. Also, let me know if you guys prefer short ones, like this one was, or if you'd rather full-length ones. As of right now, I have a lineup of both in the mix. Next up is Confusion in a Small Town, which is a romance. It's a full-length one, but it has a lot of twists and turns and some things that are going to have you saying, oh my god, did that just really happen? It's a little twisted, and I don't know, that's why I kind of like this one. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into it with you guys. We'll be starting that next episode, but as for right now, let's give you guys a little teaser, okay? Let's go. Josh has a secret, but can he keep it when he sees his best friend with another guy? Jessie too has a secret, and she's forced Josh to keep it, until now. And Derek has only ever had eyes for her, so why didn't he ever tell her? She has no clue. Before we jump into it, I'm just going to read to you the back of the book, the blurb or synopsis, if you will. Does anybody read that anymore? Do you guys read the back of the books? I still do. I love it. I want to know what the story is about that I'm reading, so here we go. This is what it says. She is young, ambitious, and ready to tackle the world with her best friends by her side. But what if everything she thought she knew was a lie? Torn between her head and her heart, love and lust, the road to the truth proves difficult and twisted. A series of unforeseen events derail her plans of returning home upon the completion of her college career. Caught in a whirlwind of love, lust, and lies, will she be able to navigate through the confusion and find her way to the man she was destined to be with all along? Betrayal, manipulation, strained friendships, love, and second chances are all rolled up into this gripping, must-read novella. What do you guys think? Let's give it a go? Come on, let's do this.